everybody, and welcome back here. This is Pink Girl Teaches, and on this channel, I talk about narcissistic abuse awareness as well as share some tips for recovery. So, I want to start off with a quick question for you. Do you ever feel unable to make a decision and therefore you find yourself not making any decisions and just being stuck? Or even when you do make a decision, you find yourself constantly replaying the options and possible outcomes, and you doubt the choice that you made because you just are not sure. Self-love, self-awareness, self-knowledge flow in a child who has experienced unconditional love from their mothers. Today I'm talking about narcissistic moms. A narcissistic mom would never be able to deposit those positive qualities that are beneficial to every child. She just can't. You see, the way that a narcissistic mom works is absolutely no different from the regular narcissist that we are sometimes involved with in intimate situations. The love that this mother gives her child is transactional. There is a quid quo pro, if you would. What can I get out of this situation? The child has to bring something of value to the mother for her to give the illusion of love. Because let's get it straight. The narcissist is incapable of loving, and yes, even their children. They're master illusionists. Okay, so it may appear that they're giving love, but they're not. And so one example that I could give you to highlight this is sometimes you have women who will foster children, or she will adopt a child, right? And you would think that this child is going to go off into a home where they will experience love, where they would get everything that they would not get in their prior situation. But that's up for debate in itself when the child is with a narcissist, because sometimes these moms take the baby simply because that child comes with a check attached to it. And so the transaction is the money. The mother also is able to stand in front of the community, in front of her church, in front of her family, her friends, her peers, in front of people, and look like an upright, kind, caring person who has rescued this poor child. Meanwhile, the child is facing unspeakable terror in the house. These type of moms, narcissistic mothers, are unable to validate their children's feelings. Now think about it for a moment. We know that narcissists are not able to self-regulate their emotions. How then can they validate the emotions of a child? And so when a child grows up without having their feelings validated, they grow up as insecure adults. A lot of the times they grow up with codependency issues, or they just grow up as codependents, should I say. And that's where, they people please. They do things to please other people so that they can be seen, or they gain their validation through doing, because they've always had to perform to receive some measure of love. And that's not what love is about. The codependent, they don't trust their own decisions. They don't trust their choices. And this is simply because they never learned this. That is something that is developed throughout our lives, but it starts as a child. So when a child says, I don't like this, and you ask them, well, why? And allow that child to explain and support what the child is saying, you're allowing that child the opportunity to build some type of self-esteem or self-trust system. And that continues to develop as they grow into adults, where they can now start to make healthy decisions for themselves. They can start to recognize indicators within their own bodies, within their minds, and just their thoughts about what is right or wrong for them. A narcissistic mom belittles her children. She compares them to other people all the time, to other children. So sometimes you have it where there are multiple children in the home. She may have one selected as her golden child who can do no wrong and who is on a pedestal. And then there is the black sheep. Now, the black sheep has so much power, and if you are a black sheep, guess what? I am working on a message for you, and I believe that this will help set you free. But let's get back to this point. She will tell the golden child that never be like that black sheep over there, because nothing good can come out of that. And what that does is it causes a rift within that sibling relationship. Like, look, siblings are supposed to grow up close to one another because that's who you have to do life with. That's who family is. That's who you depend on, and that's who you share your life experiences with. But when one thinks they're more superior than the other, or resentment builds up in another child, where is this relationship going? It's going to be toxic. And then you have the black sheep always wondering, why that one? Why the golden child? Why not me? Why can't you just love me? And so that it issues an injury to the inner child, and it has them confused because it doesn't make any sense. Like, they start hating themselves, their self-esteem is low, and they just grow up not feeling accepted in their own home. She blames the children for the situations that she finds herself in. These are the women that you may find saying things like, well, your daddy wouldn't have left if you would keep your room clean, or he left because you misbehaved, you kept the house messy. She blames them for her situations. There are certain things that we are supposed to do as mothers and as parents that don't require any credit. That is just the responsible and the adult thing to do. There is no applause for paying rent. There is no applause for paying your mortgage. There is no applause for buying your children food, providing, the very basic things for life. But she makes her children feel like they owe her something, like they're indebted to her because she provided these basic needs that they need. I mean, that's her responsibility, but she plays on the child like that. Now, think back in your own relationships with a narcissist and an intimate relationship as an adult, and remember the feelings that you had in those relationships. Now, imagine how much more that is magnified in a child and the level of trauma that she causes in the life of her children. Because when it comes to trauma in children, what trauma looks like in a child is the inability to process what they are feeling or what they are experiencing. So trauma can be one thing to one child and another thing. It's just so individual. And that's why we have we perceive our experiences different. The narcissistic mother believes that she's above the law. So here's an example. The kid falls down, gets hurt at school. Falls down and gets hurt, right? And they have a bruise, they may have a cut, whatever. And the child goes off to school and is asked what happened. Now, this child has been groomed. This child knows how to respond to this, and so will automatically fall into the explanation. The mom has groomed this child to respond according to how she wants, because she believes she's above the law, that she can treat this child anyway and not be held accountable for it. This is where we see mothers who are constantly abusive to their children, denying them food, care, or just basic human rights, because who's gonna check me, boo? That's what she's thinking. Like, I'm untouchable, I'm unstoppable. It's so twisted. The children grow up in an unpredictable environment, and it's chaotic. They never know who is going to show up from day to day, and sometimes from moment to moment. And so they walk on eggshells, and it's just causes great anxiety in the child, because who's showing up? Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? They don't know. They want those answers. But they also alter the way that the children perceive things. They groom their child to view the world and life the way that they want to see it. So if the mother is the victim, then the child, must now always be able to accommodate her needs and soothe her injuries. And so the child is always in performance mode, neglecting their own feelings, because according to that narcissistic mother, the child's feelings are insignificant, and who gave them the right to feel anything? Because guess what? I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out of this world. And so that's what it's like. This is what these children are experiencing. She can never see anything from the child's point of view. The child never is able to comfortably express with confidence that if I go to my mother with my concern, if I tell her that I'm not feeling well, or I'm uncomfortable with a certain situation at school or whatever, there is no help for this child. And so we sometimes wonder, where is the father in all of this? Sometimes the dad is in the home, and it just happens that he is quite possibly a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath, and co-signs on everything that the child is experiencing. And in these instances, you find that they tag team against that black sheep, and together they work towards that mental torment that this child is exposed to. Other times, the dad is still in the house. However, he may be a codependent. And in that instance, then he has to please his wife. He has to please the mother of his child to validate how he feels. Because remember, codependents are people pleasers. And so he will always stand up for her and leave the child alone. Abandonment, rejection. Those are some issues that these children experience. And as they grow up into adults, every now and then, those feelings of abandonment, rejection, those fears become heightened when things may seem a bit unsteady, unshaky. And so you find that as adults, they sabotage their own lives. They are sabotaging their own progress simply because of this narcissistic mother. Another thing about her is she uses a smear campaign against her children. What am I talking about? Let's say one of her children's friends, let's call the child Johnny for argument's sake. Johnny says, "Hey, I want so and so, your child, to come over to our house for the weekend." And this mom will say, "Well, he can't come over because he did A, B, C, D." She is going to down talk this child, lie on this child, and make herself seem like the victim in raising this child because of some alleged behavior that he did. Like she may say he tore the whole house up. He broke this and he's on punishment. He's grounded. All of which is not true. The things that she mentions, those are things from her own life, from her own experiences. These are things that she has done to disturb other people's peace. And now she's using that to go ahead and smear her own children. And she does it without shame. She never prepares her children for life. And so these children go into adulthood unprepared to deal with the real world. Now, this could be simple things from taking care of themselves, personal hygiene, or she's not on top of their education and making sure things are sent in on time because she's so focused on herself and she's so busy running in her circles and living that parasitic life of hers. She's so busy being concerned about being seen as the best thing in town, as well as gaining new sources of narcissistic supply. So where does she get time to mother these children? As the children grow up or get older and they start to have relationships, you find that this is the mother that will invite all the kids over to her house so that they can turn up, so that she can have some marijuana, she'll have some weed in the house, she'll have some booze, she'll have some drugs, and she lets the kids partake in this simply so that they may adore her, so that she may be praised, so that she can be a demigod to these children and they can look up to her because she needs that validation. That's narcissistic supply. We see this happen. Some of you may know people like this. Another thing this mother does is she sleeps with her children's friends. Yes, she has sex with them. Sometimes she even gets pregnant and has those babies. Like, they don't care. They're dirty. They're scum. There is no limit to what they can do. They will sink into an abyss. And if you're not careful, they will drag you into that abyss with them. This is the mother that also sleeps with her children's spouses. I told you, she's messy, 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 messy. And you'll also find that she lies to her children's spouses, just smearing them, just causing damage and distress everywhere that she goes. She cannot be trusted at all. And so what you find is that when these children grow into adulthood, and maybe it's you, maybe it's somebody you get to a certain stage and you don't trust yourself. You second guess everything and you don't value yourself. And so you give yourself to whoever to fill that void that wasn't nurtured when you were a child. And now you're desperately seeking answers to where you are or where you need to be, or to bring healing and closure to yourself. Let me tell you this. The closure that you're seeking, the void that you're looking to have filled, you have total control over that. One of the things that you can do to begin your process of healing is For a season, maybe for some people, and for other people, it may be forever. You will have to cut the cord from your mom. Cut the cord. Cut the cord so that you can begin the process of healing. Cut the cord so that you can now disengage from her and allow yourself to begin to tap into who you are. You want to be able to find out, who am I and why is it that I feel the way that I do. The whole purpose of this is so that you can bring yourself back into focus. You never had the chance to do that as a child. You always were looking outside of you, but now we want to look into you. And one of the most important things in this process is no contact. I know. Sometimes you are told that, hey, you can't do that. That's your mother, which is very, it's up for debate. Yes, it is your mother, but look at the damage that she has done. And it doesn't have to be this way forever. Sometimes you feel that because this is the way life is now, that this is how it's always going to be. Let me tell you this. Your destiny does not, it is not hinged upon what your nativity is or was. It doesn't matter how you started life, because it doesn't mean where you start is where you're going to end. There is always room to grow. There is always room to evolve. And if you would take that step, you can do this. You can do this. There are services out there that can help you. There's therapy, there is counseling. You don't have to walk this road alone. You can reach out to different coaches. I would encourage you to watch more videos from different people, not just about narcissism, but self-love, healing trauma bonds, and healing the inner child so that you can begin to do the work. If you feel like you are the black sheep, guess what? You are divinely appointed for that position because there is a light in you. And now it's time for you to reclaim your true identity. And I'm just here to encourage you that do the work. Do the work. It's difficult and sometimes it's so hard being vulnerable. It leaves you feeling naked. And when we're naked and ashamed, oh boy, it's difficult, but keep pressing through, keep pushing through, and you will get to the place where you're like, wow, you start finding yourself and you start falling in love with yourself and you set up boundaries for yourself. Maybe depending on how you are and how you feel, once you get to a better place within yourself, you may want to allow communication with your mother, but you have to remember that she is always going to be the narcissist. So this is where you employ the gray rock technique. All that means is answer direct questions. Don't give her a whole lot of information about your life. Just stick to what matters at the moment. If you are raising children, remember who she is before you are constantly exposing your child to her, because more than likely the same thing that she did to you, she will do to your child, or she will poison your child against you. She will tell the child that your mother is no good. Your mother did this. Your mother will destroy you. She will set your own child up against you. So this is what I wanted to share with you in regards to narcissistic mothers. If anything that I said resonates with you, I invite you to press subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like, share, and comment. And I want to thank you so much for spending some of your day with me or some time from your day with me. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of each other.